Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell.
Oh, shit. All right. Let me tell you about my show. Wednesday nights. And here we go. It's the rule of three with a touch of Basco. And like the Joker says, and here we go. It's Wednesday night and it's 9 o'clock. Click on the thumbnail, it's about to get hot. We get 3 different questions in only 3 minutes. It ain't for the scared, it ain't for the timid. Some will like us and some just don't. A lot will back us and some just won't. It don't matter with the Khaos crew. We specialize in making things do what they do. So sit back, chill, and enjoy the show with me, Chris, Guy Scar, and Nzo.
Fire, peace. 9 o'clock, Wednesday nights. Don't miss it. Check us out.
Seriously?
What is going on, everybody? I am Chris Knight. This is the Rule of Three here on Khaos Central. And we're back, guys. Oh, yeah, here we go. I decided that we're going to have a fun time tonight, so I brought up something that we haven't seen in a while. We're going to see it here in a minute. No Final Five tonight, though, so we'll
I'm thinking I should have kept
of
that
it.
beat for myself.
What was that?
Thinking I should have kept that beat for my show. Damn.
Mm-mm.
Shit sounded fire.
I know. I like it. I appreciate it. Yes, everybody. We're going to go ahead and go around the panel really quick and have these two gentlemen tell you what they're up to and all that fun stuff. Guys, jeez, what the hell? You said Guy Scar, Nzo, and my whatever. I can't talk.
Yeah, Danny was on the show. That's why I said that. Yeah.
Anyways, Nzo, tell everybody about yourself and what you got going on today for the OOC.
What's up, guys? Biggaford Entertainment OOC will be coming up next. Can't find my headphones right now, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah, the new addition to the family got them.
Nah, I think I left them. That's the only place I can see is that I left them at work. But other than that, man, let's get this show started. Can't wait to see what you have in store for us.
No. Danny, go ahead and tell everybody what you got going on and what you're doing.
Oh, I'm Danny, aka Comment Chat. You can find me here on this channel Monday nights, Tuesday nights, and of course tonight, 9 p.m. each of those nights, as we do our 3 shows. And earlier, I was just on Guy Scar's show, The Hangout, and I may possibly join Nzo tonight, depending on what my wife got me wanting to do here after y'all here. And there are thank goodness, no roundtables going on at this point that I'm involved in. And tomorrow, catch me and Nzo and G Moore. I don't know why I keep getting his name wrong, but what up, though? He wants to join us tomorrow, so we will look on your Twitter feeds and look on your whatever social media feeds you look on. We're gonna try and do that 20-minute non-spoiler for Black Panther 2, and then after that, all bets are off. So come check us out tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be 8:30 when we do it.
Awesome. Well, very good. I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel. Tomorrow we have the Rumble. This weekend we have the weekly wrap-up and a roundtable over here on Khaos Central. And we'll have Name That Tune on Sunday. Also, of course, the 3 shows we have here every week. And that is the Chaos Conversation on Monday, which is Danny's show, the Khaos List, which is Nzo's show, and this show, the Rule of 3. And it's been a while, guys. It's been a while, so I thought that because we'd been kind of sporadic for the past month, we would bring back an old friend here. An old friend, yes. We're going to bring back the Wheel of Topics. The Wheel of Topics. It's going to pick 3 topics tonight. Those 3 topics are what we're going to talk about. There are 2 sports questions. There are 2 current events / political type questions.
Those are old questions. You got Tom Brady.
No, wait, no, they're not old. They're not old. Just hold on. And we have 2 sports questions, or two pop culture questions. So here we go. We're going to spin, and I don't want to blow your guys' ear out, so let me make sure that we turn this down just in case. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. Here we go. Is that too loud, or is that?
No, that's good. Oh, Danny, just to let you know, we will be talking from Kyrie Irving
tonight.
Yeah. Did you hear what the Nets want to do to get reinstated?
They had to say all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some of that too, and then what Jay Williams said. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, you're all right. Over the past year or two, many movies have been greenlit before audiences even had a chance to see a film, or almost had a chance to see it. That's Black Panther 3 is already being talked about being greenlit. Black Adam 2 is talked about being greenlit. Now, whether or not they've changed their mind, I'm just talking about these movies that were greenlit at some point. Wonder Woman 3 was talked about being greenlit. Would you say that movie studios need to slow down on how quickly they greenlight movies, or are their current practices okay?
I'll go first on that.
Go first on that? Okay, that's in the chat. And we'll bring the timer up. 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
I don't think it's a problem because we don't know most of the standard procedure is that an actor gets a 3 movie, a 3-movie deal. So if it's a 3-movie deal, then okay, you gotta the same way they want the actor to live up to his obligations. If they go in and say, "Hey, Henry Cavill, we're gonna give you a 3-movie deal," it could be Justice League, Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3. Then whether it flops or not, that's irrelevant. The contract says a 3-movie deal, so you hope that doesn't flop. But if it does flop, if it doesn't flop, if you living by the word of the contract, then you have to live up to the contract negotiations or whatever the rules you put into place. I mean, that's standard operational business. So I think most from what we're hearing and what I've seen, most of these movie deals are at minimum of 3-movie deals. Some are more based on the popularity of it, or kind of like in football, you get the rookie franchise deal, and then if you play to your potential or whatever, then they give you that max deal. So that's how to me that's standard business. 3-movie deal. Even though the Black Adam did not make the money they projected or thought it would make, and it's considered a flop based on the financial gain is not making. To me, Black Adam was able to get Henry Cavill back into the saddle when he wasn't in there before. So for that alone, I think they're going to give him a Black Adam 2. Black Adam 3, I don't know, but based on what I've seen, based on what I've heard, based on what I've learned, being on this platform, a 3-movie deal is a common thing now for these kind of movies. And Iron Man 1 came out, and they really took a roll of a dice on that, and it was successful. But then look, I'm pretty sure they told Robert Downey Jr., "Hey, we give you a 3-movie deal, blah 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 blah," and he got his 3 movies. He got Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Then I think as he saw the popularity of Iron Man, and that's when it kind of parlayed that to the Avengers and other things, other projects, Spider-Man, that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking par for the course, what is normal in these kind of situations is a 3-movie deal. So I have zero problem with studios saying this or they're greenlighting that, whatever, because it's probably already predetermined in the contract. So they can live up to the contract. I don't know whether or not The Rock got 3 deals with Black Adam, but I'm pretty certain he got 2. And he'll probably have an appearance in Man of Steel 2 or possibly even Justice League. So to me, I have no issues with that.
All right, real quick question on that. There's nothing though that states that it has to be like, for instance, The Rock. If he's given a 3-movie deal with DC,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Let me say it for my part, Chris.
All right, I will. Okay. No. All right, I will. 3 minutes, Anzo. Go right ahead and continue down that line.
No problem. So I take the opposite of what Danny said. I do think that they rush these movies thinking on projections, right? oh, this movie's supposed to make $1 billion, so since it's good, we'll just put 3 movies out there, and then when it doesn't meet expectations, they have to cancel the sequels, you know. And like you were saying earlier, I know what you're going to say is that just because it's a 3-picture deal doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a full Black Adam 2 or Black Adam 3. It could be in a feature in a movie, right? That's included in a deal too. So it all depends. But for me, like I said, I think that they rush. And back in the day when we were watching movies, they wouldn't announce a sequel until they knew that the first movie was profitable. Now we're talking about a Black Adam 2. If Black Adam is a flop, I don't think they take a chance on Black Adam 2. I really don't. It doesn't make sense for them to do it because they're just going to make another movie that people aren't going to go see, right? So what you would have to do to make a profit is give it a lower budget. So you take a Black Adam 2 and you give it maybe 150 million budget, but even that's because it was like 195 million. So I would say that 150 million budget. I would say like maybe 100 million budget, but then what's the movie gonna be like? You know what I mean? Like Black Adam, for whatever reason, had a lot of CGI in it, a lot of flying. So you gotta stick to a certain degree when you make these movies. I personally just wish they would wait. You could put it in the movie. You can make the movie to where it's pretty much open ended, to where if it's not a sequel, then you have a perfect ending to a movie. But if it does well, you have it in a way where yes, there's something we can build on, right? You could do that as well. But to just be rushing and say, hey, listen, what we're gonna do is maybe after you're established, like MCU right now could hire somebody and say, I'm gonna give you a 10-picture deal, because they pretty much know where they're going. Their movies are pretty much gonna make money where they're not gonna panic, right? DC and now they're not 100% how good their movies are gonna be. Like Rock came out there and he was like, hey, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, thank you, fans, and all of that. It was great, but that 90% on Rotten Tomatoes didn't add up to the box office numbers. So it doesn't matter if the 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and the fans that seen it like it, the box office numbers don't show that. So for them to take a risk on it would be really, I think in my mind, probably be ridiculous. So I think they should wait.
Okay, very good. I will take much the same approach as Nzo has on this, but with that being said, I think sometimes with people like The Rock, when you bring them into something, he's expecting Black Adam 1, Black Adam 2, and maybe a cameo in Shazam 2, 3, whatever, possibly 2, because Black Adam's already come out. That's what he's thinking. So there is some pressure in this when you get somebody like Dwayne Johnson to push these movies out. In the case of Wonder Woman 3, we heard about it being greenlit, and it's like, wait a minute. I mean, that movie kept on getting pushed and getting pushed and getting pushed, and then it got very poor reception. So I think there's also a kind of wait and see, like a tentative offer that says, hey, if this movie does well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to push it. We're going to go to a second one. But like even Batman, and yes, Batman was successful. Batman was successful. We're not going to say it wasn't. But even that one, it's like you heard about it almost immediately. And it's like, well, geez, people, that's really, really fast. And yeah, I mean, Anzo's right. It took them a full year before they actually decided to start working on a second Star Wars back in the 70s. They were under the impression, George Lucas was under the impression it was going to flop. It didn't.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, okay, we can do this. And what did that? It's basically that whole thing of Jaws was a hit. It parlayed, Steven Spielberg parlayed that into something more for him and something for George Lucas. When George Lucas had a hit, then they parlayed it into something together with Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like, that's how it should work. Hey, you got something. You guys know what you're doing. Let's reward you. Do you want a sequel to your movie? Do you want this? Do you want that? That's how it should be more often than not. Now it's just like, oh, we need more of this type of movie, or we have like a storyline that we're going to automatically make into 3 parts, and that doesn't always work. Like I said, George Lucas knew the chances of his movie hitting Star Wars was going to be slim to none, he thought. So what he did is he kind of compacted the second and third movies, or really the last third of his script that he had come up with. He just shortened it and shoved it in the back end of his first movie because he was like, well, at least I can get most of my idea out there. And then when it hit, he even talked about how he had the hard time of expanding the second and third because it did well. I mean, so there's some of that I think that's needed. So let's talk about this some more. What's the answer to this, though?
I'm okay with them like putting it out there. Hey, we have a plan to do 3 movies or something like that. But to go back to what you were saying about Star Wars, like even the original Star Wars, even though it ended with Darth Vader getting away, it ended in a way where that could have been the only movie and you still would have been satisfied. You know what I mean? Probably would have been like, oh, shoot, I wonder what happened to the bad guy or whatever than that. But the way it ended was like, okay, I enjoy this because I know I was young, right? So you never really think, hey, this movie's open. I was 3 years old when I seen it, right? So you never really think about, hey, there's going to be a sequel coming out or anything like that. But when it does come out, you're like, yes. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer would be, but I'm okay with them like at least hinting to there being more than one movie. But I don't think they should just like green light, hey, right away, we're doing 3 of these movies. Because that's what, here's a perfect example. The Monsterverse, right? The one with Tom Cruise. They announced so many movies. They announced The Mummy, The Wolfman, Frankenstein, all of this. We're gonna have a great universe, right? All of this stuff. And then the movie flopped and it just went to nowhere. So
yeah, only 2 of those movies were ever made. The Mummy and then The Invisible Man was later made.
Right.
But no. Danny, what? I mean, you say you're fine with this, right?
Yeah, it seems to be like standard practice now from what I'm hearing and stuff. They come in here and they get these multiple movie deals. I mean, I don't have shit. Ain't my money. I don't care.
Well, I understand that, but what about product? You'd much rather see more Black Adam in other movies rather than them just scrap the whole Black Adam idea because it was a shitty movie. Or no, I'm not saying it's a shitty movie.
I don't think they're gonna make a Black Adam 2 with him solely in it. I think Black Adam 2 is going to involve either Shazam or Superman. I mean, it makes sense for him to do another movie solo about him again. I don't think that would do well because his first one didn't. But I think if you add a Henry Cavill to it, you add Zachary Levi and Shazam, and you write a compelling story, then I think you can put like the first part of it and then maybe end there, and then the second part, kind of like they did Infinity War in Endgame. They could set something like that where all the movie they kind of hinting at them fighting, and then boom, at the end, that's how it goes off. Just like the Harry Potters, just like what's the last 2 Harry Potters?
Deathly Hallows.
Deathly Hallows 1 and 2. That would be perfect. And then let Black Adam transition to the Man of Steel 2. They could do something like that. That's a 3. I mean, but even the deal, and then it's covered. So I would not have a problem if they do something like that.
Even Harry Potter waited though.
And to Danny's point, right? Let's say they had these Black Adam movies planned, right? Now the movie didn't do good, but you take him, you put him in a Superman movie, or you put him in a movie where people are like, oh shit, Black Adam was badass in this, I want to see more. Then you can try and do the Black Adam 2, right? I think that's a possibility as well. So I'm not saying they need to scrap it because it didn't do well, but I think you can build on the character a little bit more and then do the movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I hear y'all points and make valid points. I'm just saying that I think that if they do something like the Deathly Hallows with that, then make it Black Adam 2, then transition either to Shazam 3 or Man of Steel 2, I would pay to see that. And I think it would bring more excitement. Yeah, Dracula Untold was the shit, bro. One of my favorite Dracula movies of all time, Shifty.
It just wasn't well received.
Wait, hold on. Dracula Untold?
Yeah, that was the first one. All right.
Okay. I must be thinking of it.
There are some real surprises this year in the NFL. The New York teams are 12-5 combined, and both Green Bay and Tampa Bay may not make it to the playoffs. Do you think this is an anomaly, or is this a shift in the ranks of power in the NFL?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Let me see.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, you're going to go first, Nzo? 3 minutes, go.
All right, so I can't remember what the Jets did last year, but I don't think they were that good, right? A lot of these teams, I don't think they were that good last year. So I would like to say it's an anomaly, but I'm also on the point of saying, no, I don't think it is, right? Because a lot of those teams that were doing great are getting older, right? Tom Brady, for whatever reason, that deal with the devil is over. It is 100% over. He is, even when I watch and see some of the passes he's doing, it's just like, that's not a normal Tom Brady pass. You know what I mean? They're in their feet, they're over their head. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And just like the NBA, man, NFL is a young man's game, you know. Quarterback for Chicago, Josh Allen. He is killing.
That's what Bills.
Justin Fields.
Oh, Bills. That's what I mean. Bills. Yeah, he's killing it, right? Justin Fields is killing it. Chicago quarterback is doing pretty well as well. So I'm looking at all these young guys, and they're doing good. Then you go and look at Brett Favre, not doing so well. You look at Russell. Not Brett Favre. I'm sorry. The Batman.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
The Batman.
The not so bad man this year. He ain't doing well. You know, Russell Wilson, he ain't doing well. Tom Brady ain't doing well. The only one, well, he's still young. So Patrick Mahomes, he's still young. He's hitting his prime, you know. So I think it's a young man's game, and I'm inclined to think that these teams that are good, like the Jets, I was like, even Minnesota was doing well. I'm like, Minnesota, and they're talking about Cousins as MVP, I heard, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm like, man, I think the power is changing. And then you got, you know, and I don't really want to bring them up, but then you got the Steelers, you know, young team. Shut up, Danny. You know, and they're obviously on this rebuilding. They got rid of Claypool, so I think what's going on is you got to start to build. These older teams now need to start incorporating younger players into their mixture, you know, getting some good rookies and doing this and to keep up with the pack, because right now it looks to me like a lot of these teams, the ones that were doing great last year in the last 5 years, are falling off. And I believe it has a lot to do with the age of the players, you know. That's about it.
All right, very good.
David,
guys, vote in the polls. Go ahead.
Yeah, David Quintana, don't act like you watch football, bro. We know you don't watch no football. Go Jets.
Over in the chat where you guys are at, check it out. There's a poll there. Make sure you vote in that poll. And 3 minutes, Danny, it's your turn. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Nzo. I definitely think it's a shift of power. The old guard is Father Time is touching the shoulders, and whether or not they want to agree with it or not, because it really pains me to say, and I have to agree with Nzo. The bad man doesn't look like the bad man this year. And I think that's Father Time. Brady definitely is not looking like the GOAT. He's looking like got to go. But Yeah, it's age, man. You can't expect this is definitely a young man's game. Russell Wilson, who I thought was one of the greats, he's looking like one of the get the hell outs. So I definitely think it's father time. And I know some people say, well, it's a different system in Russell Wilson's case. And I know they're saying Rodgers ain't got nobody to throw to, and Brady's got this divorce thing going on, that kind of stuff. I think all that contributes to age. And just look at these new quarterbacks now: Allen, Tua, Cousins, Jackson, Burrows. These are the ones that are kind of rising to the being the cream of the crop, and those teams are doing well. The NFC East, I can't believe it is competitive this year. And my Commanders are only two wins down from time for second. So I mean, there's definitely a change in the guard. It's kind of sad to see, man, because we for the past 15 years we've kind of grown accustomed to seeing those people we saw, and I'm not throwing a dig at Nzo, but this is the first time since Mike Tomlin being a coach. I don't think they're gonna have a winning season this year. I just looking at and they looking. So I mean, it's definitely a change. Huh?
They ain't having a winning season this year.
It's definitely a change of guard. I mean, the NFL is due for overhaul, and we are now witnessing the overhaul. So I don't know who's going to the Super Bowl this year. I think now, if I got to guess, I think the 49ers going to be in it because they got an all-pro running back, all-pro guard, all-pro defensive end, if I'm not mistaken, all-pro linebacker. They're the only team that got like 5 or 6 all-pros on there. They're going to be hard to beat. They did a tremendous upgrade when they got a boy from the Panthers. So I don't know who they're going to face, but I think 49ers is the team to beat. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's kind of sad. It's kind of bittersweet, but we knew this day was coming. They can't stay in the NFL forever. And I definitely 1,000% believe it is a changing of the guards. I don't think this is a fluke and anomaly. I think this is the new normal. And I can tell you 100% that next year, if Aaron Rodgers or if Peyton or Brady are on the draft for the
ain't nobody picking him.
For the fantasy league, they will not be picked first. I can guarantee you that.
Facts. And Danny, you said it's a sad moment, right? But we know someone on the panel that it ain't sad for right now.
Yeah, but guess what? Guess what? In about another 15 years, you're gonna be going to say you're gonna be sad for him.
That happens. I mean, that happens. By the way, Danny, San Francisco, they're 4-4.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they got a team, but I don't know.
They got a whole hell of a lot better by adding McCaffrey. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, dear Jesus, that finally I get to hear Brady is done. God damn, I hate that man. I do hate him. Listen, of course, when you're in the league for 30 years, you're going to own every record. People, that doesn't make him the best. Listen, people had better records up to a certain point than he had, and people had better. Listen, anyways, no. Is there a power shift? Absolutely, there is. You got Allen with Buffalo. You got Mahomes here in Kansas City. Justin Fields, you said already. Who's the guy that Seattle got? Oh shoot, I forget that. He's doing pretty darn good. Yeah, Burrow? Yeah, Burrow. There's a lot of stellar guys out there. Now, yes, not all of those guys are going to be on the level of somebody like Brady or Favre or Aaron Rodgers or any of the other big names, Peyton Manning. They're not all of those guys are going to pan out that way. But you're definitely in a power shift. I would say that in the last 2 years, it was probably your top teams were probably Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Kansas City. But that's shifting now. Kansas City, Buffalo, they're going to the top. You're seeing New York because of their defense. The Giants able to move up, and they've got that. They're almost like the Baltimore Ravens were back in the 90s, where they didn't have great quarterbacks, but they were able to do what they needed to do. I think that's another thing that's shifting is we're going away from these huge plays, which, yes, you still always have had teams that had huge plays and fast people, fast offenses. But you're seeing a real change in how defense is done. And it's kind of fundamentally changing those players like Mahomes and Allen. They're having to kind of come up with something different than this prototypical just throw it downfield. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of the running game again, or things kind of like that. Yeah, but I do fundamentally think that things are changing, and whether it's really, really interesting because, we hear about it all the time that certain people just hit that wall, and it's like Brady and Rodgers this year have just hit a wall. Jordan was not Jordan from the 90s when he came back, but he still was fairly decent. Some players are able to play and continue at a decent level, but man, I don't know, man. They're both having a hard time this year. Let's talk about it all together.
Did this guy just say when Jordan came back, he wasn't the same?
No, what I'm saying is he wasn't like.
He only averaged 20 points, Nzo.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
No, what I'm saying is that he was still on a high level. He just wasn't the level he used to be. So he was still able to play relatively well.
No. Are we talking about three-peat Jordan? Or are we talking about Wizards Jordan?
We're talking about Wizards Jordan, I think.
I'm talking about Wizards Jordan. Yeah,
better be Wizards Jordan, because if it's three-peat Jordan, that's when they have the best team in history, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm talking about when he left and then came back.
No, Wizard Jordan. Wizard Jordan, he averaged 20 points, though.
But he was still a very sound basketball player. Yeah. Rodgers and Brady are really.
I don't know about.
They're making some really crazy choices this year. That's all I'm going to say.
And what really makes me about Rodgers, God, it's painful to say, he threw 3 interceptions. Like, I've never seen him do 3 interceptions in the game before. So I'm starting to worry about him, bro.
I think he's done after this year.
You see how Chris loves to see Brady go down? That's exactly how I want to see the bad man, the so-called bad man go down. Yeah, because I remember
that hate don't look good on y'all.
Hold on. I remember at the beginning of the year, someone was talking about him going back to back as MVPs. Do you remember that, Danny?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Based on what he did last year, that's a rational conclusion. But now,
but you still have the same energy now?
Huh? I don't.
You still have that same energy now?
Why would I have that same energy now when he ain't producing? That would be stupid.
Your top teams right now are the Eagles and Cowboys, Seahawks. I'll put the Niners in there, even though they're 4-4. Vikings, and somehow second place in the NFC North is the Packers, but the Vikings I'll put in there. And
9 more games, and they got dramatically, very good in 1 week's time. So.
Well, I mean,
the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins are all tied. They're all close. The Chiefs, Ravens.
They're 4-4, but McCaffrey's just been playing for them. What, 1 game? It was only 1 game?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
No.
It's the second game.
Yeah, he played. His first game was against Kansas City 2-3 weeks ago.
So the second game when he broke all those damn records, where he caught a football, ran for a touchdown, and he threw a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
He threw a touchdown?
Well, yes. Mm-hmm. He's like one of the only few players ever done that in a game. Some kind of crazy record.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Nixon had a better week though. That dude killed
5 touchdowns is crazy.
211 yards. Jesus.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get our last topic now. Last topic. See what it's gonna be. And then we'll go over the polls. While some would call it ageist, do you believe that countries like Canada and the United States, primarily democratic is what I'm saying, even Great Britain, that type of thing, should they impose age limits both for how old you have to be to run, but also for how old it is or how old is too old to run? Why or why not?
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely take this first.
Okay. Let me get it in to the chat. And Danny will pop up the time. You have 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
I definitely think they should pose a age limit for how old you can be, how old you cannot be. I think some of these last two presidents, like Biden, I think he is too old because there comes a time, and there are exceptions to the rule that sometimes your mind just goes and you're not as sharp as you used to be, and I think that gets worse and deteriorates more in age. And like I said, it's not in every person. There are some people that are just as mentally sharp in their 70s, 80s as they are, but health wise, it's just a natural progression that you just can't hold up. You don't have the stamina, the energy that you once had when you were in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So I think there should be a cutoff. I know if you go to certain federal jobs, the cutoff is, I want to think it's 37. If you have not been in that job by age 37, they will not let you do it. There's in a federal prison. They even have like a birthday clock. If you're 37 before you get the green light for the hiring, they will not hire you. And I think in the CIA or FBI, I think maybe 50, 52, somewhere they cut off like that.
It's something like that.
So you're not, that's a young man's game. That's a young man's profession. And they don't want 60-something-year-old person out there in the field. Now, you maybe can be in the office as a head of it, but being out in the field, that ain't happening. And I think it's the same thing for the presidency. I think after 65, you shouldn't be allowed. You'll be between maybe 45 and 65. I think that's the sweet spot based on your qualifications, your education, your political things you've done as far as you was a governor, senator, whatever the case. If you got a strong base in politics, and I know some people like to say that the commander in chief should be a veteran of some type of armed service. I don't necessarily agree with that because you don't have to be a coach doesn't have to be a player of a particular sport to understand that game. As long as you can understand that game and can articulate it, it can show the players who are playing it a correct and sensible and a logical and intelligent way to play the game. I have no problem with that. I don't think you necessarily have to be in the armed forces to be the commander in chief of the United States. Now, could it help you empathize or see and relate to some of those people? Most definitely, but it's not essential to the job. I think it's your education, your personality, the political background you got, your cachet, so to speak, your reputation, all that stuff ties into it. And then, but yes, I definitely think that 45 to 65 is that sweet spot that you should be allowed because like Biden now, man, he's some of the things he's saying and doing, just making the country look bad. I think Donald Trump is too old to try to run for a second time at the bat, so they definitely need to impose an age limit to and not to, in my opinion.
Okay. Very good. Nzo, time starts now.
I hate to say it, but I absolutely 100% agree with Danny on this one.
Are you
I
hating to
think
say that?
I'm joking. But I agree with you that there has to be an age limit. I think some of these presidents are just way too old, right? And you know, usually the generation that they're going for now or they want to get voting is the younger generations. So I think you need to have a president that kind of appeals to the younger generation. Um, Bill Clinton got in because he appealed to the younger generation. You know, that's the reason why he won. And I watched the documentary and he was like losing. Like they were talking about he was not even going to get close. Then he went on a couple of talk shows. He went on Arsenio Hall and they said that was one of the biggest moments is when he went on Arsenio and was playing the sax. A lot of people were relating to him and his numbers shot up like that, right? So I think that, you know, a lot of these presidents should be younger because the older generation's dying off, right? You know, a lot of these older guys, these older voters, they're dying off. These ones that have these hardcore views or want it a certain way are dying off. And the ones that are going to be leading the country are the young people. So those are the ones you have to cater to. And I think you do need to have at least a president in there that doesn't have to necessarily be like, you know, hip or down, but at least can understand what the generation is going through. You know, and I think that's the problem with a lot of these older people is that they're stuck in their ways and they're not really understanding what the younger generation is going, what they need, what they want, you know, and they cater more now to older voters. Still, they try to get the younger votes. They know you got to get young votes, right? But I still think they cater more to older voters. And at some point, you're going to have to change that and start catering to the young ones, you know? You have to get them more involved too, because there's a lot of young people that just feel like, you know, why am I voting? Like, what am I voting for? Does it really make sense for me to vote? You know, but if you give them something to vote for and to look forward to, then they'll be happy to do so. So I don't know. I just think Danny's correct. You need to have an age limit.
Danny Land, you saying there should be term limits? There are term limits for the president. You can only run twice.
Yeah, but I mean, I think she also means everybody. I agree with term limits too, but even if there's term limits in place, what stops a 70-year-old person from saying, hey, I'm going to run for XYZ office? I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to say is that 35 is your minimum age for president, 30 for U.S. senator, and 25 for a U.S. representative. There's multiple different age limits across the board from state to state. Most of these states, 30 is the oldest you have to be to run for governor. There's some 18s in there. There's 25s.
So you got to be 35 for president?
Yes, you have to be 35 for president.
Who's the youngest president? Was
30. I think so, but by very marginal. I'd have to go back and look there. But if you have age limits for how old you have to be, then you should have age limits for how old is too old. Eyes Only said that's what your VPs are for, is to take over for presidents if they can't perform their job. Yes, but we shouldn't be going out of our way to vote people in who categorically fall into a danger zone. And I know a lot of people, you know, there's been plenty of jobs that fire people at a certain age, and then the person comes and they sue the company because, oh, well, that's ageist. There is a point in time when you can look at your kid and say, no, you're not old enough yet. That's not ageism. That's just hard facts. It's the same thing. You know, I think that I don't know what that should be. I would say because you can get 2 terms as president, that 65 should be it. That means by the time you were done, if you did 2 terms, you would be 73. And I think something like that's very fine. That's a 30-year gap between the youngest age and the oldest age. Why is that too much to ask for? You can't ask them to have a mental test, which sometimes maybe you should, but we can't do that. But you certainly can snuff out a lot of the problems that come with older age. You know, you see it every time. Both Republicans and Democrats right now are saying, no, we want somebody other than Biden and other than Trump. They're both saying it. They're saying, no, these guys need to go. Well, then let's get together and come up with a plan that says, hey, okay, you're 65. If the day you're voted in, you're 66, you can't be in. So 65, you have to be voted in by 65 years old. That's what you got to look for. A person who's 34, if they're going to be 35 by the time they're voted in, can run for president. And so I think that if you have the age for the young side, you need to have the age for the older side. And I think it needs to be across the board for all federal or all elected positions in state, city, county, parish, and if you're in Louisiana, whatever, there should be an across the board. This is an age limit. And Does that mean that that it fixes all the problems? No. People can still die. People can still have problems. But what it does is it kind of forces the need for younger candidates and people who are younger who are going to lead this country at some point, good or bad. That has to be forced. That hand has to be forced at some point. Yeah, but go ahead. Anybody else?
I agree with you. 30 years.
Yeah,
To
I
me,
agree with you 100% too. You know, even regardless, like what Danny was saying, you know, there's health issues too. Like when you get to a certain age, you don't know how much longer you're gonna live. You could even think that your health is great, you know, and then one day, boom, you're gone. You know, it's father time, man. So I think, I mean, yeah, that could happen to anybody, right? I'm not just saying, oh yeah, you know, it's because
no,
of
no.
old happen to anybody, but it's more likely, you know what I mean, for an older
yeah.
person.
People are living longer now, but still, to be the leader of the free world, you have to have a sharp mind and be able to stay up long nights, long days, and go without much sleep sometimes, and be able to function at a high level. No matter how intelligent you are, how much in shape, the older you get, you're going to lose some of that stamina, some of that endurance, some of that um, mental power, in my opinion. And so I just think there needs to be a cutoff, and I think 35 to 65 is sufficient. I have zero problems with that.
I agree with you 100%. You know, like I said, man, you need to get younger people up in there, not just for health age, or but like I said, for the younger generation that are voting. You know, I feel if they have someone more that they can relate to, they're gonna want to vote. You know, but if you don't give them someone they can relate to, they're like, what's the point?
I thought Dr. Oz won his
What's that?
election. I was
I didn't
responding.
hear you.
I was responding to Danny Line. I thought Dr.
Oh,
Oz won.
No, he lost.
what about Herschel Walker?
It's a runoff.
They're gonna run off,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
Meaning what?
Well, the two of the top two who got at least 50% now will go to a runoff in December. So it'll only be those two. There was a third party, at least one other person in it.
Warnock or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So just the two that got 50% will have to go, and they'll have to re-campaign over the next couple months, which means Georgia's going to love it because they're going to get more campaign ads, which God knows everybody loves campaign ads.
Wait a minute.
What was that?
Herschel Walker, there's like got 50% of the votes and tied with the dude.
I think it was so close. And if it's a certain margin of how close they're gonna win, they're gonna win by a certain margin. If they're within
over
that 10%. Yeah, if they don't reach that margin, then it's a runoff.
That's crazy. People actually vote for Herschel Walker.
Sorry. I'm going to take that off of there. Oh, hello. How are we doing? Hi, everyone. Hello. Anyways, no, here. I got one more question. We're going to go and we'll talk about it for a 5-minute time period. Breaking the rule of three rule. No, but I want to get you guys' topic on, or get your opinion on this and get the chat's opinion, and then we'll go over the poll really quick. We got about, we got time to do this. So, Missouri just passed full decriminalization for nonviolent offenders and recreational use of marijuana. Is it time the United States government do the same? Why or why not? There it is. It's in the chat, and it's also on the poll.
The president gave a pardon to everybody.
No. It's still criminal, but they kind of said it's a secondary thing. But I just want to know, what are your thoughts? Should it be legalized across the United States?
Well, we know what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead.
All right. So, we're all talking together. Okay. So what I'm going to say is basically, the laws and stuff like that, that's not my forte. I have no idea. Don't know what to say on that one. But what I can tell you is about the weed, absolutely 100% legalize it. It's not the type of drug that people think it is. You know what I mean? It has a lot of properties to help people with anxiety and depression and to eat, and you can tell cancer patients that they get it so that they can eat, makes them hungry, gives them an appetite. So there's a lot of medical properties to marijuana. So 100% I say agree that. Now you get into the laws of people, it depends on what they did. You know what I mean? Like like what would be an example of a crime that would be exonerated for? Like if you went
You
to a
were
store
caught with a
and
certain amount walking down the street, and there's no proof that you were trying to sell it. You didn't have a gun on you.
okay.
Nonviolent, meaning you weren't you didn't have control of the substance while you were doing something like beating your wife, trying to kill somebody, breaking into a store with a gun, something like that.
Basically, a misdemeanor charge.
Or you were like just caught smoking it or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, exonerate all of them again at the same time. What?
All right.
Exonerate? Really? That's what the wrong
The
word.
reason why I put this on there, why I wanted to talk about this, because I know what you're going to say, Anzo. But I do want to hear what Danny has to say, because I'm kind of thinking
in my profession, I just can't say yes. I think that we are in America here. I don't know about Canada. I don't know the statistics in America, but DUI is a very real and very insidious crime. A lot of innocent people are in the grave because of people's stupidity. And I think that marijuana is just another tool to cause people to be, and I'm not saying, I want to make sure I use the right word, impaired. I think it's going to cause impairment. Some people can handle marijuana, people that I guess smoking it and for a while and can actively gauge how much is it too much, whatever. But there's some people just like marijuana, just like alcohol, where you think you can handle stuff, but you drink too much. I think there's some people that say, I can handle this when they smoke too much, or somebody might put something in it. I don't seen all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just something out there in the law enforcement side of the line that's just going to be another headache for impairment, and it's something that I think in my profession that I could do without. So I mean, if they do it, then we will deal with like we deal with everything else. But I think it's just going to be another thing that we have to worry about, having more impaired drivers out there.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think would be the difference between impaired drivers now than impaired drivers when it's legal? Because people smoke all the time when they drive. It's not the same as alcohol. So what do you think the numbers are going to skyrocket because of that?
I think it's going to be less people. If it's legal, then they're going to try, going to push the boundary. Like, oh well, it's legal. I'll smoke such and such, and just like they do with alcohol. Every time we stop somebody alcohol, they magically how much you had to drink? 2 drinks. when they drink like 10. So how much marijuana you had to smoke? Oh, only smoke 1 when you smoke 10. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but my point is, if they're doing it when it's legal, they're doing it now. That's what I'm saying.
But it's going to be, if you can get it, you can't go to a corner and pick up marijuana like you can alcohol. And on every corner where I live at, there's a damn liquor store. Now, on top of that, I'm gonna add a marijuana store on top of that. To me, it's just not a good look for the law enforcement. But I'm saying if they do it, then we will definitely adapt to it. But do I want that extra added problem? No, if I'm being honest.
So, Dandelion, that's a completely false statement. I'm okay with smoking it, but I don't because it's illegal. My company doesn't test me for it because we're based in Nevada where it's legal, but I don't because it's illegal. Not trying to take the high road path on this or anything. I'm not saying I will when it becomes legal here, like in a few months, they'll figure all the red tape stuff on it, but I'll have an option to.
But then
And
to
there's a good
Dandelion's
choice.
point, then you're not really a smoker. You're one of those ones who will just do it once in a while or occasionally. Because if
Not
they
necessarily.
legalize it, if they legalize it and you can and don't smoke, then you're not a smoker, bro.
Well, let me ask you this.
It's not even that. It's the fact that I haven't even thought about it because it's illegal. Because that's just how I was raised. So therefore, yes, I know when I say that I did in the past, but I as I've grown older, and especially with the fact that I have 2 kids that I had to fight for to get, and there were a lot of other factors into it. Once that stuff started piling up, I'm like, I'm not even taking a chance. And it's not that I wouldn't or won't, or would or wouldn't, or would or have. It's simply the point that it's illegal. So I personally am one of those, and I know lots of people who fall in the camp of me. I have no issues with it whatsoever. And so I'm saying there's several things about this that make it better going legal because, one, you get a purer, better strain. It's not somebody selling you ditch weed, which happens a lot to some people. Now, yes, if you know what you're looking for, that doesn't happen. But there's a lot of that shit going on. It can be tracked, it can be taxed. That helps your state, that helps your government, not here, but in Canada, since it's legal. There's a lot of plus sides to legalizing it, not just because people are smoking it. Less people in seedy places where they could get in trouble, where they could get hurt because, they're trying to hide that they're buying it. And I'm not saying that's everybody. Lots of people have the guy on speed dial. You can say, hey, man, I'm coming over, want this. That's fine. But there is a fundamental plus side to legalizing it. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, and like Dandelion's right, and the same arguments that Danny is bringing up about the impairment was the same arguments that a lot of people tried to bring up when they were legalizing it here, and nothing has changed since it's been legalized. Nothing has changed.
I don't think it's. I think it's fundamentally not going to be that huge of a difference. So I don't know. I'm glad it passed. I voted for it here, so that's how it is.
Because Americans do stuff to the extreme.
Yeah, they do. There's always those gamblers that over gamble. There's always the drinkers that over drink. There's going to be smokers that over smoke.
Don't take a mile.
Yep. Our polls. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying. I feel you. I feel what you're saying.
Our polls. Are movies being greenlit too quickly? 58% say yes. 41% say no. Very close. Are the power teams in the NFL changing? 80% said yes. 20% said no. Makes sense. Should there be an age limit, or should there be age limits for being too old in politics? 76% say yes, and 23% said no. Wow. Interesting. And the last one is, should marijuana be legalized federally by the United States? 53% said yes, 46% said no. That's literally every state that's passed it. As much as you hear how popular it is to pass, we only passed it by 52 to 48 or something like that. It's amazing how close this type of.
I heard a statistic a long time ago that the states that pass it usually, like the cartel and whatever, moves in there and kind of takes over, and that crime rate has grown up. I don't know where I saw that, but I've heard that. Don't know how true it is, but I'm going to do some research on that. I don't know. Does it bring a certain criminal element into that particular city or town or whatever state that does it? But if you legalize it, man, do you want like a cop or a doctor or a lawyer that's high representing you?
Well, that's the same thing. It's like alcohol. I can't go to work drunk.
I can see that. I can see if you're drunk, you can smell it.
Listen, if the guy is taking a puff off of a pen for marijuana and goes around and does it all the time, and I can't tell, fine. It's like a guy, if he's taking a sip of if he's drinking a shot of scotch or something before he goes and does something. I mean, fine. But if he's really stoned, like really flat out stoned, Like, that's the thing. If you're drunk, you're drunk. It's pretty obvious for most people. If you're stoned, you're stoned. It's pretty obvious for most people. If you carry an everyday thing, I mean, like,
but
use Onzo as an example. Onzo, we know, smokes a lot, but he's fairly cognizant. Listen, he's cognizant of what he's saying 90% of the time. It's not like Elihu. I can't use Elihu at all. Because God, that's not a good. But no, what I'm saying is Onzo smokes. We know he smokes. He smokes on the stream sometimes. It doesn't affect him like some people. So
he doesn't build up a natural tolerance. I think you've been smoking.
Well, that's fine.
60
some people might do that.
And
I'm not going to judge.
But what I'm saying is, like, even though, like, Danny, these guys are professionals, right? So even if they smoke, they're not going to go into operation and smoke. They're not going to go into court and smoke. They'll do it after. You know what I mean? Like, they're professionals. They're not going to be like, hey, yeah, let me go smoke a split before I go to court.
2 years ago, we fired somebody drunk as hell on duty.
Yeah, some people will do it. It'll happen, yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to end it right there because I know Onzo's got to go to his show. Thank you, everybody. Glad to bring that wheel back. We'll see what I do next week. I might throw something even zanier in. I don't know. Do I have, like, maybe I'll do a Jeopardy board and start putting points to it. Just kidding.
That'd be cool.
I might. I don't know. I could do it. But anyways, Onzo, tell everybody about yourself and what you got going on tonight on the OOC.
Biggaford Entertainment, guys. The OOC is up next. Got a couple of topics that I think are very interesting. Going after a YouTuber, Mecha Random, going to show that Wakanda Forever thing that she did, and then we're going to talk about some of the things about Kyrie and how it's a double standard, and whatever else comes up, man. Danny, just text me if you want the link, and thanks, Chris. Great show.
You go ahead and send it, bro.
Okay, cool.
All right, Danny, tell everybody about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, I'm Danny, aka Comment Chat. You can find me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights right here on this very same channel with these very same guys doing what we do. On Wednesday nights at 8, you find me on the Hangout Guy Scars channel. I just got finished that and I jumped on here. And Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find me on Storms Live. Usually me, Adam, Brittany, sometimes Onzo, sometimes Guy Scar. Just depends on which one show up. So good show tonight, Chris. I appreciate it.
Cool. I'm Chris Knight, Real Review 3000. What was that? Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Check out all the shows we do here. Check out the Annual Roundtable on Sunday. Shifty says it's really good. We'll have to see what that's like. We'll have the Name That Tune on Sunday. We will have the weekly wrap-up on Sunday. And tomorrow night is the Rumble. Check that out. That's over on the Real Review 3000, which is my channel. Thank you, everybody. And good night.
Peace.
Bye.